Welcome back to the Mad Spideyverse. I'm Mad Spidey, and thank you once again for tuning into my channel. Today's episode is going to be another one of my statue collection videos. Now, if you've never ever seen one of my statue collection videos, let's do the spiel. So, basically, the statues that I own and that I've collected over the years is all based on the Bowen Designs statues. They were very prevalent in the mid to late 90s to early 2000s, before your Sideshow, your PCH and XM and every other alphabet, Iron Studios, all the rest. They were, the premium statues at the time. They only had a license for Marvel. They did do some stuff early on before they got the full license for Marvel. They did some sort of, Batman, Superman stuff. I think some odd sort of bits and pieces. They did some Sin City and Death Dealer and a few other sort of bits and pieces. But obviously once they got the Marvel license, they pretty much just stuck to Marvel. They did 3 different ranges. So they did the mini bust, mini statue, full-size statue. The mini statues were basically the same in 9 times out of 10, were the same as the full size. So I ended up getting rid of the mini statues, even though I only had a few, and just sticking to the mini bus and the full size statues. Now, in saying that, you'll find there were, I keep saying this, there was either 5 or 6 phases. I'm pretty sure there was 5. We'll stick to the 5 anyway. I'd probably need to do a bit of research. But yeah, in each phase, they would basically do, obviously, a range of mini busts. The mini statues sort of phased out a little bit towards the later phases as well. So we'll stick to the mini busts and the full-size statues. They would basically do, your mainstay characters, your Spideys, your Iron Man, your Cap, your Hulk, all those sort of characters, pretty much every phase, just a different costume, different pose, different color, whatever it happened to be. But they also dive down a little bit into the sort of, I suppose you could say sort of like back catalogue or less mainstream sort of characters. With the minibus especially, they really, really, sort of really dug deep with some of the characters. Like some characters they did, like I know they did they did Airwalker. He had his first appearance in a Fantastic Four book. I think he was... first appearance was 1 issue and then he died in the 2nd issue. I don't know whether he ever obviously reappeared or not, but I'm pretty sure that was pretty much 2 issues and that was it. So they even did a mini bust of him, which I may have already shown, not sure. Check my my playlist, obviously, that's in my channel, and you'll be able to see whether I have or not. But if not, I'll eventually get to him. But yeah, so they did dive pretty deep, as well as obviously your mainstay characters. Now, the other thing of note with the Bowen Designs stuff as well is that, they're getting a lot harder to find now, mainly because people have either, hoarded them, kept a hold of them, but they've also sort of, probably because of the scarcity of them now, have sort of, it's hard to collect them now because it's actually getting as expensive as some of these, newer statue companies and things like that. So, you might be paying the same sort of dollars for a full-size Bowen statue that might be 15, 16 inches tall as some of the, the Sideshow premiums, which are, ridiculously big. But obviously they're newer. So anyway, so today's video is going to be another mini bust. This is not necessarily diving into the sort of, the deep dive of the, sort of like your non-mainstay sort of characters. But it is one that's sort of been around since the early days of Daredevil. Obviously Daredevil has, got a pretty, I don't know, like with Daredevil, he has his sort of main group of bad guys. Like, it's not like a Batman's Rogue Gallery or a Spider-Man's Rogue Gallery where it's, it's always the same sort of ones and then you get a few odd ones here and there. Daredevil's been sort of like, some here, some there. You've got sort of, obviously, you got your mainstay ones like Bullseye and things like that. But then you've got, like the Owl, Purple Man, things like that sort of pop in and out every now and again. But this one is actually one of my favorite Daredevil villains, and it actually is Gladiator. So obviously you can tell, because there was, as far as I know, obviously my knowledge is not as great as some other people's, but Gladiator, obviously this is, well, they classify him as the original Gladiator, but there was a cosmic Gladiator as well. I think he was part of the Shi'ar Empire, obviously with the big purple mohawk and stuff like that. But yeah, this is the original one who made his first appearance, and I think Daredevil 18, I think it was, something like that. But anyway, so with Bowen Designs, the other thing to note is the normal grey box. I'd say probably 99% of their boxes have that grey sort of look, which has, you know, a little bit of a mosaic of, you know, pages and characters and names and things like that. The other thing to note with the Bowen mini bust that they don't have with the full size is they actually give you a bit of a synopsis on the character itself. They will generally show you the first appearance book or something sort of close to it, and then something a little bit newer, or, you know, closer to the time of release. Now obviously with this one's a little bit different because they've actually pretty much gone sort of two Silver Age books, which generally they don't do. They usually do first appearance or something close to it, and then sort of a newer book to the time of release of the mini busts, but obviously they haven't done it this time. The other thing to note is on the other side, they will generally give you front and back view, who it's sculpted by, the original prototype, physical size, and things like that, and obviously, you know, your licensing bits and pieces as well. On the bottom, it generally has an edition number of what the actual statue is. So in this case, this one was limited to 1,500 worldwide, which is not really low, and it's not really up on the high ones, because some of the early mini busts, you know, went like 5,000 to 10,000 issues, edition worldwide. So 1,500 is almost in the middle. So, but in saying that, this one is actually number 6 out of 1,500, so a very low number. But like as I've said before, I never chased the numbers or artist proof or low numbers or high numbers or anything like that. As long as I had one, I was happy. So anyway, let's get stuck into it. I've rambled on long enough. Show you what it physically looks like. So when you open him up, as I've said plenty of times before, generally they'll put the word up or the Bowen Designs symbol on the top, so you know where to actually open it from. Alright, so he's all in one piece. There's no extra bits and pieces. But there we are. So quite often the bases will be fairly basic, especially in some of the lower phases. Like they went a little bit more, you know, above and beyond, I suppose you could say, in the later phases. But yeah, super detailed, especially with that sort of chainmail look on the belt and things like that. Saw blades. And look at the back. But yeah, basic base, but still very effective. And then you look at the bottom, and it gives you your edition number. 6 out of 1,500, or as long as, you know, with the licensing sort of stuff. And if it was ever signed or anything like that, you know, when you see it on the base, it wouldn't be on the actual unit itself. So there you are. There is Bowen Designs mini bust of the original Gladiator. And obviously, a little side note, the character's name is Melvin Potter, who you might actually remember if you ever watched the Daredevil Netflix show, was actually in that. Now, obviously not as Gladiator. He was the costume designer that actually made Daredevil's, you know, proper suit, not just the, you know, the scarf over the top of his head one. Yeah, so obviously based on that character there. Would have been cool to actually seen him like this, but yeah, very, very cool indeed. So there we go. So that will do for this particular episode. Thank you very much for watching. I greatly appreciate each and every one of my subscribers. Don't forget, obviously, once you've finished the video, do all the usual YouTubey stuff. Leave a comment if you want to. Hit the thumbs up on the way out. But most of all, please hit that subscribe button. That would be fantastic. Anyway, hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and Spidey out.